Back in the Ritva. All right, so let me just restate the question we left off with. All right, but we have to understand, again, it's part of a flow, so we have to get the order straight. All right, so first the Ritva explains that anything called a Karen, anything that's called Karen by Tanakh, all right, is considered pasul.
Right.
All right, and he says, and he makes the point of saying Karen is a halachic idea. So when it's called Karen, it means that is now pasul to use. All right. So what does he do with par? Because par is not called Karen, it's not called shofar either. So that's the first case you're starting with, the one that's called neither. But we know par you can't use, right? And that's when he couches that in the question of why didn't the Mishnah start with par? Okay. So what was his answer? What was his answer? What was? That's right. No, what was the? But the idea by that is that
shore is a specific thing within the umbrella of par. So
and therefore,
if you usher par, then shore is definitely.
Well, that's the answer. No, so the assumption is that if you're going to create a halachic quality called Karen, a halachic quality called Karen, okay, that's what you're going to create. So early on, that's what you're going to create. Okay. So the thing is, all you would know at that point, all you could possibly do is rely on whatever Tanakh says is pasul. What other system could you rely on? You can't use your intuition, right? So that's what you'd have to rely on. So the first step he makes is that no, he's saying that in this situation, even though normally when it comes to applying Karen, a halachic quality, you evaluate each species individually. Here, even though there's biological dissimilarities between the shore and the par, but they're part of the same min. They're part of the same min, which means that there's a category. All right, category. Simple as that. All right. Okay, now comes the hard part. So then he says, well, what about an A's? Because what's the problem with an A's? The A's isn't the neither, it's the both.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's called, now we got to be careful. Like he pulls a fast one on us, and this is a little hard to define. But he says like this. He says an A's is definitely called a Karen. And there's a pasuk that backs it up. But he also says that the A's is called a shofar. Now, let's be careful. It's not that the A's is called a shofar. He says specifically, Sha'ez biklal seh v'yovelhu. So the A's is part of the category of seh. So if I had a whiteboard, I'd say like A's is here, and the category is seh. Okay, and in the psukim they refer to the seh as a shofar. Okay, so since the seh is referred to shofar, and the A's is in the category of seh, so for whatever reason why that makes shofar win out. Why does shofar win out? And then you can ask, okay? So what Johnny's saying is 100% correct. You hear what he's saying? That's the idea. In other words, he's saying that you have an idea, there's the A's is identified as a Karen, the specific A's, but it's part of a greater category, the seh, the example, okay, of that area, like the how do you say like the top of the chain kind of thing, like
Superior.
what?
No.
What'd you say?
Superior.
No.
Primary.
Okay. Since it says the primary, okay. So the thing is, if the primary is called shofar, the fact that it is the primary and the A's stems from it.
The of.
Yeah, that's more like it. That's what I'm saying. The of. The of. Since the says the of, so by definition, whatever tolda, so to speak, emerges from it will acquire that property. So that's why the shofar beats it out. In other words, he's saying that if the A's and the seh, not they could be, if they were equal, then you're dead. You can't get out of it. But since the seh is the primary or the of,
Since says the primary, then what?
Since says the of, and then A's is the tolda of the of. The A's is a seh. It's the younger seh. So therefore, that's why the shofar wins out. That's why the shofar wins out.
Shofar wins out for
over Karen. It's called the A's is called both, but it's not really called both. It's called Karen. The A's is called Karen, not the seh.
So the Ev is limited.
I'll put it that way, because that makes it happier for you. Is it an A's its own actual species, or no? What's an A's? It's simply a younger seh. So it's true that there's a pasuk that says that's called Karen, but the fact is that doesn't mean the A's itself has Karen, because what's the A's? The A's really isn't. There's no real A's. It's just simply a term for a younger seh. So since it's a younger seh, it's essentially a seh that it happens to be young.
For whatever reason. Amai,
no. It's A's and go on. Od hikshu amai loktani.
Whoa.
Which means what? The Ritva continues and says, there's still a kasha here. He's not satisfied with what he said. Why?
If it is a shofar, that's
you're right. Yeah. It's assuming that it's looking at the par as a shofar that's pasul.
Right.
Because again,
It's
so
not a shofar, so
he says
it's not a shofar.
it's not even a shofar at all. In other words,
That's right.
the fact is, since it says why do you use the case of par, it's not called a shofar. Memela imay miklal shofar. That means it's excluded from the category of shofar. You can't use the word shofar when you talk about a par because it's not a shofar at all.
Yeah.
It's not a shofar that's puzzle. It's not a shofar.
Correct.
It's what did you just say?
I said it's nonsense.
It's nonsense. You mean
it's like
to say that is nonsense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Not that the
It's
Ritva's
like
nonsense.
saying
Remember last year
Also-
about Michigas?
Right. Yeah.
It's
it's
saying
nonsense.
all shofar are kosher except for a trumpet.
Right. Exactly. So keep going. Umay. Hi, Diktani.
Hi.
Interesting about this. The Ritva just spent all this time building up this beautiful situation of why it makes more sense to say par, and that's what you got to understand. That's what you love about the Rishonim. What do the Rishonim do? He leads us down this path. He shows us a logically, and then shoots it down. And he says, and he comes up with a question. What could he have done? He could have asked this question in the beginning, but he doesn't. He saves it just to get everybody frustrated. But he's showing you that there was a logical way to work it out. It's masochism, by the way. Technically, it's intellectual masochism. But anyway, I used to call it intellectual sadism, but someone always corrected me and said it's actually intellectual masochism.
Why?
Defeat themselves.
Right.
Why?
It's to the
Well, then, no, it's
slowly. So the Ritva turns to the Ramban. The Ramban says, "Devadai shtei inyanim yesh b'shofar." There's really two
categories.
ideas. No, carefully in shofar. There are two ideas in shofar. Okay. Remember, I told you guys don't know what a shofar is. We don't. He's going to tell you what's a shofar. Two things. Go.
Echad kasher gufo.
Hechsher gufo, which means what?
Echad hechsher gufo.
Which means what?
The body's kosher.
What?
The animal's kosher.
The physical
Shofar.
appropriateness,
It's
right?
appropriate to put in
No.
your mouth.
Of the horn. Hechsher
Horn is
gufo
kosher.
of the horn. Of the horn, not kosher like eating. Hechsher,
Right.
preparation, like.
OU, there's an OU.
I-
I'll read. So he says that he's it's v'shofar,
Shofar hu lashon ador.
hidor,
Hidor.
v'tikun. So how does he know hechsher shmo? Okay, what's the source for that? He didn't make it up. Ramban says because what does shofar mean? Hidor v'tikun. What does that mean? What is lashon?
Beautification and a rectification.
So shofar first, there's it's an unbelievable thing about it. Like I never knew this before. Okay, until you see the Ramban, you wouldn't know there's such a thing. Shofar actually is an idea in making something, beautifying something.
So where did Ramban get this?
Hechsher gufahu she'ein bichlal shofar. So what's the starting point? Well, okay, so now he has two categories to make, or two concepts that define a shofar. But what's the primary one? What's the starting point? Gufo. Because if it's not hechsher gufo, there's nothing to talk about. It's not even in the category of shofar.
Ding, ding, ding.
You need it to be the whatever that is. We don't know that yet. The biological shofar before you can speak about the shame shofar. You need the biological shofar first.
I'm praying.
Okay.
Yael.
What's not considered when is it excluded from the category of shofar? Ella hashofros.
Ella shofros hachlulin says chorosam.
Not los mehem. What does that mean?
That's a.
Okay, it might be hard. We'll just keep going. Ava osan she'ena chalulin.
Osan she'ena chalulin vehem kulam karen echad ena nikran shofar.
Anyone want to take a shot at that?
What?
The hechsher gufahu. What makes it in the category of shofar? She'ein bichlal shofar. The hechsher gufahu she'ein bichlal shofar. Ella, rather, hashofar sachalulin shezichrusa notlas mehem. Those are the ones that are good. The ones that you can hollow out. Ava osan she'ena chalulim, meaning naturally there's no hollowness to them. Vehem kulam karen echad, and they are all one horn. Okay, ain't a nirkan shofar. You wouldn't call that a shofar. Keep going. V'raya l'davar.
Oh, because it's not hechsher guf. And that was an example of.
Ulafisha para karen shalachalol. Now you have a problem. The cow horn is what?
It's not. It's
Hollow. So therefore, what? It's considered okay.
what?
The horn of the cow is hollow. The yeshlo hechsher shofar, begufo.
No, I thought.
Let me just finish it. So he says again, ulafisha para karen shalachalo,
this is really a 180.
v'yeshlo hechsher shofar begufo. So since the par is a hollow horn, and therefore, insofar as physically speaking, this horn is considered a shofar, the aim psula ala machma shmo. So therefore, the shame, what is called, is what makes it a problem. Because what's it called? Shekara kasuv. Karen below Kara Shofar. So now what have we just done? I'm just going to clarify it. There's two ideas. One idea is to make it a shofar. One is hechsher begufo, which means what?
the actual physical structure, which we all know.
Okay, right. And then there's hechsher shmo, which we don't know what that is yet. Okay, but he says it's some sort of beautification, whatever that means. But point is just Hechsher Shmo. Hechsher Shmo is an abstract idea, right? Okay. Now, if you're going to tell me that hollowed horns, right, or non-hollow is a determinant, now we have a problem by par. Because what's a par? A par is a hollow horn, which means that it passed the Hechsher Gufo test, right? But did it pass the Hechsher Shmo test?
No.
Oh, but why not?
Okay, fine.
Well,
The min has
no,
the test of
why
Karen.
not? Why not?
Okay.
So what is Karen then?
The halachic reality.
No.
So it's
If it's called Karen, once it's called Karen, that means, by definition, what can't emerge?
Gufo. So it's
Shame
Hashem
shofar.
Gufo.
Shame
No,
shofar.
the shame shofar. Karen means shame shofar cannot emerge. That's what Karen means, according to the Ramban. Okay?
Well, what's Karen?
He says this. He says, "Ve'ein psula." Right. He says, "Ve'ein psula ela machma shmo," by the par. Right? Why is it puzzle? Because of the shame. But 1 second. What do you mean the shame? It's not called a shofar. Shekaro hakasav Karen v'lo karo shofar. So what does Karen mean then? What's Karen then?
So halachic blocker.
More than that. It's not just that. No, because
Cannot be
no,
shofar?
that halachically. Right. So again, let's
Except
go.
for that one
Why is
case.
it-
Ach shanino. Therefore, we learn kol hashofros. Now, this is how you read the Mishnah. Now, you read the Mishnah as follows: kol hashofros shechalulin. Okay, every shofar that's hollow, ksherin chutz mishal para. Okay, she'af al pi shehu chalol pasol b'mnei shehu keren. V'lo hutzrach lomar chutz mishal ra'im ki keren shal ra'im eino chalol ve'eino b'chal kol shofros. So let's get to, I want to finish this and then I feel good. Umiyu akasi. Okay, kashale. So he's not done yet.
Hold on. I'm at I see Lamadnu. Shluke was
Umiyu akasi kashale.
Okay.
Kevan she'em psulo begufa el machma shmo. So he says, fine. You want to tell me that the reason why the cow's a problem is because the psul doesn't come from the biological cow, but it comes from the shame, the halachic shame.
Repeat it, please. Repeat that idea, please.
Which sounds very nice, very abstract.
That what?
That the reason why the par is a problem doesn't come from it being
The min. The din in the min. It doesn't have the shame.
right. It doesn't have the shame, but it is a
Biology is very
right. Okay, so he says, "Hey chiktani v'neshu karen." 1 second, but why does it say because it's a karen? Remember, what does the Mishnah say? The Mishnah says, "Kol hashofros are kol hashofros hachalulim kasher." That's how you read it. Hollow horns are kasher, except for the par, because even though it's a hollow horn,
Karen.
right? But okay, v'neshu hu karen. He says, really, right? Havale lemisne. Now I know it's going to be annoying to say this. Mivnei shenikra karen. The Mishnah says Mivnei shehu karen. What should it have said? Shenikra karen. What's the difference? Right. Now, so if you're going to play this game, so let's if you're really looking for accuracy, let's really take it to its fullest extent. All right, in terms of accuracy. So you don't call it. You don't say it is. Okay, there you go. Say you wouldn't call it. You wouldn't say it. You wouldn't say it is a Karen because it is a Karen means that is the biological definition. You would say halachic nikra Karen. That just like nikra shofar, nikra Karen. Right, but that doesn't make any. He's saying it doesn't make any sense. It should have said shenikra Karen, not zu Karen. How do you get out of that one? How do you get out of that? So we've now established that no one really cares that much whether it's called nikra or except you do, but I do, but everyone's so a little tepid about that. But fine, listen to his answer.
I was
Like warm,
In terse.
like is that hot or cold?
It's
Is that hot or cold? Terse is like
lukewarm.
terse is the way you respond to someone. Like you have almost like a tinge of anger in the reply.
Tinge of rudeness.
Fine.
Anger, the anger versus anger.
He says, maybe he'll say this, because of Huzal, he's referring to Ramban. Okay, Devadai Kol Shehu Mechuber Beguf Behema Karen Shmo. Okay, so now this is not a 180, okay, but now he's telling you what Karen means, okay? Anytime the horn is attached to the animal, okay, it's called a Karen. Dafil Shel Yovel. Even the Se Yovel. As long as it's still attached to the head, what's it called? A Karen. Okay? Vilo Nikra Shofar, okay, Ella Kishinisakin Bitlush, the Humina Chalulim, the Hahidurim. Okay, so this is the last complex layer. So once again, so it's only when you take it off, okay, and you hollow it out. I mean, it was a hollow horn, but you fix hollowing it up and make it nice.
Wait.
No.
You said it was nothing there.
So what does Karen mean? Karen means when it's still attached to the animal. Karen shall para pasla satora afla akar tlisha. Okay, now here it goes. Nikra shmo Karen kimo shahaya. $64,000 for tell me what that means.
Lost the place.
Again.
You're wrong.
Okay, so he's saying somewhere in there. He's saying like this. This is so great stuff. He's saying that. Think about this. What does Karen mean? Karen means when it's attached to the animal. Because as long as it's attached to the animal, what can't it be? A shofar. Even if it's a hollow horn, it still is not. It's hechsher, but it's not called a shofar yet. When does it acquire the shofar name? We chop it off. Okay.
Well, that's when we're asking you to use it.
Agreed. Okay. So now, why is a par a Karen and not called Karen? Because
for some reason never separated itself.
Ubinei Karen shall para pasla sotara, and since the Karen of the par, the Torah disqualifies it even after what?
It's hollow. It's kosher.
No. Even after tlisha, even after you break it off. Nikra shmo. It's nikra shmo Karen kimo shahaya le'inyan paslos. Okay. Ulohachitani meishu Karen. Kolomar mimnei shadayin hu Karen kimo shahaya betchila b'odom mechubar. So that
No identity of shofar?
more than that.
There's no.
Although you're right,
The fact that Karen doesn't allow the reality for shofar to ever become potential, not even actualized potential. It's like it's still on.
Oh yes. That's what you were saying, right?
Kind of.
Okay. In other words,
that it can't be shofar.
right. The same way the horn attached to the animal can't possibly be a shofar.
Yeah.
He's saying that's the same thing as the Karen. The chopped off cow's horn, okay, is a Karen because it is no different, okay, than it's as if it was still attached to the animal to begin with. In other words, the level, in a sense, the level of
halachic restriction
of psul is equivalent as if it was still attached to the animal.
That's why it's not